Welcome to Shamford. I'm Chesal, and here we discuss all things 3D printing. In a previous video, I made this selfie clamp adapter thing for my Sony camera, which worked really well for a while, but I found myself shooting in the portrait orientation a lot lately, which this piece wasn't designed for. So I thought about revising this adapter to, I don't know, like wrap around and be able to clamp from this end, something like that. But I thought I was creating more problems for myself and making it more complicated than it actually is. Today, we're taking a step back and going with the old Arca Swiss design. This ball head belongs to my wife and she doesn't use it anymore. So I'm going to salvage this piece for my project. And I only actually need the top part. I don't need the actual heavy ball head. I don't think the tripod is able to handle that load, or it will wobble so much with that kind of weight on it. One interesting thing about this specific camera model is that when the battery door swings open, it blocks the screw for the tripod plate. There is a little bit of clearance, but it's really not much. And if I were to recreate that little tab in plastic, that's going to fail in no time. So I'm going to keep this aluminum bracket that's already on here, and conveniently, it's got the Arca Swiss cutout already on the bottom side, so I'll be using this. And for this project, I'll only ever need to worry about this portion. But you see, when the camera is mounted like this, the battery door is partially blocked. So if I were to change the battery or take out the memory card, then I would have to release the camera from the clamp, which is a little inconvenient. But I get to use the vertical orientation more easily, so I'm okay with that. Now, there is a port that I use sometimes. It's the charging port, but keeping the access to this port is going to make the project a whole lot more difficult, and it's much simpler if I can design the part flush to the side of the camera, so I'm probably going to do this. But by some miracle, if I'm able to find a way to make that happen, I'd be happy to do that, but yeah, no promises. Okay, so with that out of the way, let's start the project by taking this out and trace the profile on a piece of paper, maybe, or take a photo. Okay, here's what it looks like from the underside. There's an interesting geometry. Maybe I could take advantage of it. We'll see. Okay, so the first half of the project is done, I guess. I didn't expect the first piece to come out perfectly on the first try, so a little surprised, but I'll take it. I'm supposed to use this screw, which I believe is M6. But when I measured the major diameter, it's 5.8 mil. And here I brought my tapping bit, which measures just over 6. So I'm a little nervous to use this bit. I'm going to try and fasten the screw just by hand, see how that goes, and go from there. Okay, I did end up using the tapping bit, but just to get the hole started. I think I drilled maybe halfway into the hole and I backed out, and the rest of the way I tightened by hand. So one piece done, and on to the next. Right, here's iteration 1 of the second adapter. There's a few things wrong with it. One is that it doesn't sit flush on the desk. And that's because this bottom is not flush with the bottom of the bracket. This is something I overlooked in my design, but also the screw head is massive. So even if I cut the bottom off a little bit, I think the screw head is going to touch the desk anyway. So I think instead I can raise the other end to make it level or flush. Conveniently, there's a cold shoe mount on the opposite side, so I should be able to do something there. The next issue is that there's only one screw that's holding this adapter to the camera body, so it's really easy to pivot or rotate. The whole thing is just loose. So what I think I'm going to do is make the model taller and make it reach behind to limit the motion. If you look from this angle, there's a little curve that I can follow, and obviously on the front side I'm following the contour of the grip. So obviously the model can't rotate counterclockwise, but it can clockwise. So hopefully that helps. And finally, there's a few places where it's a little pointy and ergonomically it's not great. I'm mostly going to use this camera on a tripod, so it's not the end of the world, but if I can, I'm gonna smooth out some of the corners so it's a little more comfortable. But I will say this actually functions pretty well. I just tried it on and the adapter is able to hold the weight of the camera. It's not wobbly, so that's good news. Right, here's iteration 2 of the second adapter. I think I have addressed all of the concerns from the previous run. The camera sits flush on the desk. I've added a shim on the other end. The next concern was the ergonomics, I think. Mainly I just added rounded edges here. The rest of the surfaces or corners, I found that I don't really pinch myself or anything like that, so I left most other corners as is. And here, this is the arm that I've added in the second iteration to prevent the adapter from pivoting back and forth. One interesting thing about this arm addition is that I didn't make it straight. There's a very slight discrepancy in how the battery grip is sized between the actual camera body and the aluminum bracket, and I had no good way of measuring the exact size of the rubber grip. So I had to go off of the size or the profile of the aluminum bracket, which was a little different, so that caused some tolerance issues down the road, and I didn't want to waste my time trying to nail that profile. It would have taken me 3, 4, 5, or maybe even more iterations to get it right. So I kind of cheated and made the arm to be spring-loaded, basically. So any little discrepancies or little gaps that were opening on the front side, I was able to close them up. And the charging port is exposed, mainly because I got a screw that's really long for this application. So I've had to make the adapter pretty thick, so naturally that gave me more space to work with. So I was able to open that up. Oh, and here's the adapter in action. Here at the bottom we have the selfie clamp on a tripod and the adapter that I made in today's video. Previously it was hanging off to the side, so it was sort of sagging, and yeah, it made the video composition a little weird. But now the center of gravity is right in the middle, so everything is pretty well balanced. So that marks the end of this project. Thank you for watching. I hope you got something out of this video, and I'll see you next time. Bye.